Okay, welcome to your brand new Belmont Clesta E3 swing chair. It's a beautiful little chair. We've got this side delivery movement on here that pivots from underneath the chair, so it's a really nice little movement. It also converts from left to right. Now we're going to go really quickly through all the basics of the chair, and then we're going to double back and go into finer detail of all the features and functions. So let's just go really quickly through what the chair is and what it does. Power. On and off. Now you'll hear the chair depressurize. You'll find that all your screens, all your lights, the chair functions, everything is turned off via this switch. It turns off your water, air, power to the chair. So that's a master control switch. So first thing you're going to do in the start of the day is you're going to turn that chair on. That's going to light everything up. We've got our triplex syringe, we've got our high speed, we've got a spare there that could be an air motor or another high speed, whatever you want it to be. It's a standard Midwest 4-port connection. We've got an electric motor here. It's an optical top of the line electric motor, all controlled by our electronic control pad up here. So that's a fully functional high-end motor. We've then got our scaler here, which is controlled by our trim pot here. So all very basic, all very standard. Our water control is under here. Far right, and then we count backwards over here. They line up with our hangers. You'll notice there's a blue and a yellow here. Yellow means air on our triplex syringe, blue for water. So that's our water control here. So while we're under the doctor's tray, water bottle with our water bottle control here. If we're on bottle, we flick the bottle, energize the water bottle. If we want to change the water bottle, we need to make sure we de-energize the air, unscrew, fill with water, put it back on, re-energize. If we want to run on city, we flick here. That means everything is running on the mains water supply. But for biofilm control, we really want to be using it in the bottle mode. That means everything's on the bottle except the bowl rinse. Everything else, all the water that goes in the mouth comes off the bottle. This is our mist. Or it used to be called an oil catcher. It's more catching water now. So all of our exhaust air from our handpieces goes in there. So if we have a faulty O-ring on here, it's most likely going to allow water to sneak into our exhaust air. It's going to get caught in that little reservoir there. So if you see that, it's a sign that maybe you've got an O-ring or something faulty there. So look, that's pretty much the doctor's tray here at a really quick overview. We've got things like pressure gauges there for our air. We've got a pressure gauge here for the pressure of our handpiece lines while they're in use. We've got our main functions here with a 0, 1, 2, which are our presets. 0 for entry exit, 1, 2 are user presettable. LP, which we'll go through later on, and our manual chair movements up and down. So we'll double back on the fine-tuning features of those. So 0, entry exit, pretty self-explanatory. Usually lowest backrest up. Number 1, number 2, user presettable. So they can be any position we want them to be. It's up to the user what their favorite position is. Now, once we get the position, if we look at that, that's coming down, but we go, well, okay, we want to be a little tiny bit lower. Want to lock a new preset in, and this goes for all the buttons. We just hold down the button, wait for that beep. That's now locked in as a new preset. Now, LP, so that's our preset position we've already got on the chair there. So if we just look at where that is, but I just go, okay, the preset doesn't quite work. Let's say I want the patient up at 45 degrees for a procedure of some sort. And then I want to have a rinse. Okay, we're going to sit you up for a rinse now. We hit the LP. It'll set the backrest up, but it won't move the height of the chair. Patient has a rinse, and you can set where that LP height is. Hit LP again. Goes back to the last position you're in. It remembers before you hit the button, it takes you exactly back there. So no matter how fine-tuned that position of the patient is, straight back into the same position. So only other button that's on the doctor's tray we haven't gone through is the cup fill there. So that's our cup fill there if we want to fill up the cup. Okay, so we've gone through the doctor's tray and all the functions on there. So now we're going to go to entry exit. So I'm just going to hit the 0 on that and bring it down to a standard height that we would have for the patient coming in. Now we can lift and move that into 3 different positions. So it's just a lift, spin, entry exit, in and out. Nice solid armrest. It won't move unless you lift it straight up and pivot. But for entry exit, it's a nice solid handrest there, armrest for people to get in and out. Now, headrest, you're going to want to adjust the headrest straight You can move that straight up without pushing any buttons. Then to release, we just push down that one button on the side here, and that adjusts our height. So it's just a simple one finger push, away we go. There's also then a simple one finger push on here for the headrest. Now that can fold down on itself if you've got kids. Otherwise, it just gives you maximum movement in there. It's actually cradling the neck in here. Gives us nice cradling of the head there. So it's more of a neck rest / head. Not like some of the larger headrests you might see on other chairs. It more cradles the neck area. Okay, we're going to do a left-right conversion now. So we've actually moved this already into the left-handed spot. So we're going to swing it around the other way for the right-handed configuration. First of all, make sure our chair's up in the highest position, because that's the position where the arms are going to scoot past each other. Take that cover off, and then at the end we're going to clip that cover back on. That's going to reveal a little pin under here. We lift that pin. We move this arm through. Now we've got the monitor bracket here to also be aware of. But what we're going to do is we're going to move that out to sort of, around about 12 o'clock there. We're going to leave the other arm in that sort of bent position. That's going to give us clearance here in the highest position for that arm to just scoot past, yeah? So it's do the first pin, leave that other arm in the same position it was. Then what we're going to do is we're going to move this assistance tray here. There's a little pin on there we can undo. We just move that little arm over to the other side. So we do that ready to go while it's in that position. That's the easiest spot to do it. We just tighten up that little pin again. Then what we're going to do is we're going to clip that in. Click. Our little pin here should drop back into its little locator. And then we're going to move this arm around. Now we're going to have to then work out, this has got us pivot. So if we look down under here, we've got to pivot it the right way so that we're not twisting it up into a big knot. And also, of course, we've got to watch out for that monitor there. So move that out of the way there, and we work out which way we've got to pivot that around. So if it won't go one way, well, then we take it the other. So let's have a bit of a play here. We'll give that a little spin around. Now we've got our monitor, we've got our headrest that's in the way here of our monitor, so we might just drop that backrest down a little bit just to allow that to glide past like that. That's only because we've got that monitor there, so there's one extra step there just to make sure it glides past. Now everything goes into place in the new position, so that all just goes in there. Our monitor arm can now freely go. We've changed our pivoting side over there, and then all we do is we just pop our cover straight back on there. We've got some little locators here. Hopefully I can get it right. Look at that. And job done. We've converted from left-handed back to a right again. Okay, bean air motor. So this is top of the line bean air motor. This is probably the most complex bit of kit on the chair. And it's all controlled via this nice little control pad here. So we've got all the functionality here. Now, if you like tech and you like playing, there's a lot of things you can play with here. If you want to keep it really simple, just keep it on slow speed mode, 1-to-1 ratio. Come down here and dial up the speed you want. Anywhere right up to 40,000 RPM. Everything else is just a multiplication of the max speed of 40 times the ratio here. So keep it simple if you want and just dial the speed up. If I hit the foot pedal now, turn the water off there so we're not spraying water out. We've got our ratios going up there. We can dial down our speed while we're on the screen, or we can dial it down on the screen there. If we want to go into endo functionality, we just go in here and we choose endo. Brings up an endo file there, 1-to-1, 250 RPM there at the moment. We can set up our torque, we can set up our speed, hit the go pedal and away we go. Get back into operative up here, hit OK and we're back in there. Now, if you like playing and you like setting things up uniquely how you want to use them, you can go in here and we can change high speed, slow speed, straight. We can go into any of these settings and change the title. We can change the ratios. Say for high speed, we'd be using a 1-to-5. We can say, okay, well, if we're using a 1-to-5, we're going to be using it at maximum speed, which is going to be 200,000 RPM. Okay, let's save that. Okay, save, bam. That's now our new preset that we can scroll through in there. and choose that as our settings. So you can set up your endo, you can set up all of your low speeds and have a bit of a play and set that up as you want. Okay, so we're on the assistant side of the chair now. Now this is a brand new chair, so it's still clean, so I'm not having to worry about the gloves. Let's go straight for the filter basket. So this is our filter basket here. It's just got a very easy removable filter basket. You can clean those out. If you need to, you just get replacements. It comes with the basket and the stem there. We just pop that back in and away we go. So make sure that's cleaned daily. That's very important. Even more if you think you've had a lot of build up going through the chair there. So we've got our high volume suction and our low volume suction there. Obviously with our suction, high volume will always have more flow going through it than the low volume. That's just the laws of gravity. Always goes past the least resistance. If you want to sort of equal those flows up, what we do is we just adjust them until we get an even flow between the two. We've got our air and water ports here. So we've got a quick connect air and a quick connect water that we can connect there. If we've got auxiliary items like one of the NSK various Combi Pros or an airflow or something like that. Also, we've got our triplex control here, which is our air and water on the triplex. We've got a flush here, which we do our bowl flush. Now you might hear the cuspidor valve clicking soon. Just to kick in the chair, we have a cuspidor valve because there's no floor waste in there, so we're removing that water through the cuspidor valve. Also, there's a little rinse button here, manual rinse. They do recommend doing it twice every 8 hours. So if you've got the chair, you're using it for a full day, it's just to flush out any sediment that might be sitting in the bottom of that separator system and just keep it nice and clean. Very simple manual fill on these here. So what we do is we hit that. To actually stop that timing function to stop the cup filling. So that time starts when you release that button. So again, really simple. Push down, release, timer starts, water shuts off. So nice and simple. Okay, so that just leaves our scaler. So first of all, we've got our wrench. We just tighten that up. Now this is not a torque wrench, so don't over tighten it. Just make sure it's tight. We take our wrench off. Now it's worth mentioning down here with our chip air has to be on, or our water, in fact, needs to be on, which brings in our chip air function, and that allows the scaler to work. If that water is not on, the scaler won't work. So I've now got my power there, and I can turn that power up and down with the trim pot here, and you can hear that adjustment go up and down. Now, what I've done here is I've actually turned the water off from the trim pot, not from the pedal. So then what you want to do is you want to get that nice mist, that nice atomization of the mist there. That's what we're looking for our scaler. So very simple, trim pot up and down, away we go.